Welcome, everyone. I am very excited to have this conversation with Rita because I know that there are so many of you watching or listening to this that work full time and at the same time know that your education, your personal experience, your passion is in demand. And you just need to figure out that balance of how to be able to continue on with your day to day life and all of the responsibilities that you have and still fulfill that other role where that practitioner hat, that coach hat is basically screaming at you like, you must do this. There are people that need this. You must do this. And until you fulfill on that passion, it does not go away. And it will continue to scream at you until you actually do something about it because you know that you can help people. So I'm really excited to chat with Rita because this is her life. This is what she does. And she's figured it out. And she's going to tell you exactly how she's figured it out. And we're going to have a really good convo about it. So, welcome, Rita.
Thank you, Laurie.
Do you want to tell the people who you are and what you do?
For sure. So I do have my certification with Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. So I am a FDN practitioner and I currently run my program, 10-month program called Growing Up Resilient through my practice, which is purely functional nutrition. And there is a story behind that, but I currently work with families of children diagnosed with autism, specifically managing and reducing their behaviors through nutrition, lifestyle, and I focus heavily on functional lab tests because that helps me uncover those hidden stressors that are causing the behavior. And so my goal with all the families is not to cure autism because you don't really cure autism, but it really is to bring balance back, bring calm and support their children to independence. And I consider myself an expert in this autism world because my son Jordan was diagnosed with autism when he was 2. He's 15 now. He is considered neurodivergent, but he is for the most part, independent. He's in a mainstream class. He's in grade 10. He's sociable. And that's what I want for all the families.
And I actually don't know this part about you. Were you always online or were you ever in a clinical setting? Like, how did you start?
Yeah. So I started even way before the pandemic, maybe back in 2015.
Mm.
And it was families or friends of mine that saw, how disciplined I was at the gym. I'm 55. I'll be 55 this year. But in my late 40s, they're saying, wow, Rita, you really take care of yourself. And, some people were asking for nutrition advice. And even though I strength trained and ate well, I really don't know much about nutrition. So I really went back to precision nutrition
Mhm.
to start learning about nutrition. And then I learned about holistic nutrition. But at that time, some of my friends also noticed the change in Jordan because I really had to work hard in managing his behaviors, working on his picky eating, because practitioners that I had reached out to help, even though they were in the functional medicines, they didn't understand the behaviors. They didn't understand how to deal with picky eating. I guess it became online because I was just speaking with people. And as families started learning on how I helped them, it wasn't local any longer. Like there were families reaching out to me out of province, like from the US. Even when I was posting on social media and they saw and they were just random pictures of how Jordan was improving or what I was doing with Jordan, then they started asking for my help. And that's
Mm.
when realized, okay, I can really help families because I've lived it, I'm living it, but I needed more support. I needed to learn, right? Especially when it came to functional lab testing. And even today in my practice, when I'm speaking with families one-on-one during clarity calls, I can't rely on clinics because the problem with clinics is that they have to book an appointment. They are seeing maybe 1 month, 2 months for like maybe ten minutes. And they're never going to get the support that someone like myself or someone that works online can offer them, because there's so many ways that families can get in touch with me on the day-to-day basis rather than having to book an appointment. And when families have issues with their child's behavior or supplements, they're going to give up. And I see a lot of them, many of them have many supplements that they kind of started. It's like, well, it didn't work and we stopped because we didn't get the support.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I didn't know that part about you, the precision nutrition.
yeah, like I I had no nutrition background, even though I had a health coach helping me since 1998, I think, with weight training and nutrition.
Right,
So I was eating healthy, but for the rest of the family, like Jordan at the time was a picky eater. So I was
right.
making those like 3 different meals a day. And I heavily relied on fish crackers for Jordan as a
Mhm.
filler, not realizing, oh, this is really bad for him. I didn't know that
Right,
then. I know it now.
right.
Yeah. So that's how really
It was very organic that it happened. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't like you woke up one day and you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna do this." It was a natural progression, and I think that happens to so many of us. That's how I ended up here too. I just started doing WOW weight loss, and my colleagues were like, "How are you doing this?" And I was like, "I'll teach you, sure." And it just was a natural progression, I think, when you sort of have this passion and have this focus and you just do it without really overthinking it at first. And then you realize like, oh, hey, I'm kind of onto something here.
Yeah. And I like how you said at first, because when you're starting something, everything is simple. But then as families were coming to me, it was like, okay, like, how am I juggling this? Because I do work full time, but then I had no structure. So I was kind of like just winging it to the point where I couldn't wing it anymore.
Right.
Um,
And that's obviously, very common because for the majority of us, I mean, my background is in personal training and being a registered holistic nutritionist. I wasn't taught about operations. I wasn't taught about systems. Back then, when I started, technology wasn't even a thing. We just had like a simple website. But especially now, with technology being as helpful as it is, we're not taught that side of it. You sort of do throw spaghetti at the wall for a while until you realize like you just can't live like that anymore because
mhm,
it's making things a lot more difficult than it needs to be.
mhm.
So tell me what it looked like for you when you first started to realize that there was a way that you could do this systematically on the internet.
Yeah. So that was a struggle of mine because I saw other people in the space, not necessarily those working with families with children with autism, but I saw individuals being successful. And then it's like, okay, how are they successful? What have they done? So, even before coming to you,
Mhm,
um, I had 2 coaches that sold me that they were going to help me. And I'm sure many are in are in the same shoes I was in, because then, why are you different? Like I love everything that I've learned through you, and I continue to be mentored by you. But in the past, other coaches, whether they charged me monthly and they saw me twice a month for like an hour, not giving me the direction that I needed. Right. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you're going to keep on investing because you feel that there's going to be one call that is going to be that aha and give me that direction. That never happened with the first coach. When I had my second coach, again, like I compare it with what you had to offer, which is you can't even compare. I did run my first group program, which was a flop. Like it was, I think maybe 2 people joined, 2 people joined. But remember, I wanted to move to group coaching with one-on-one support because I was really getting burnt out. Like I've always been getting families who wanted to work with me join my program, but I was getting burnt out with the one-on-ones. So I didn't have any structure. And so, before coming to you, I was hesitant. You were highly recommended by one of my fellow colleagues, whom I highly respect, and one whom I've never met personally. So there was a lot of trust. But again, I'm sure you can appreciate the hesitancy of me coming to you, right? But really offered something, or you offer something that no one has ever offered. And it really is like the plug and play. Right. Um, you offered a very concierge type service. You have to put in the work. Like, I think with you, you have everything from A to Z, handouts, templates, everything we need to build a successful program. However, I need to provide the content. And so what I really appreciated was the amount of hand holding you and your team offered. I needed that. I still need that. And it keeps me moving forward. I share this all the time. I remember when I was in Italy working on something, and your customer service support, like Nancy and Leanna, like I spoke to them all the time, all the time. And I think that's really important, whether you are a business coach, as you are, or a practitioner like myself. Families, practitioners, they need someone to guide them and hold their hand and make sure that they follow the process according to how it's supposed to be. And no one ever offered that to me. Was it work? Absolutely. But everything is streamlined for me now. And even with my full-time job, I'm able to handle both.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to just touch on one thing that you said, this whole like idea of it being plug and play. I've been thinking about this a lot lately with everything that's online, with all of these different offers of doing like low ticket and, you know, all of these different things that we're all being marketed to. And I think the most important thing and the reason that I love having these kinds of conversations is because when you are first starting and you have no infrastructure. You might have, like you said, you ran a program. It was not built the way that it's built now, right? When you don't have infrastructure, doing these like small one-off things, it doesn't work because you don't have the holistic infrastructure. It would be like giving your clients testing without any type of follow-up process in place. Like it won't work. Like who cares if they have the test? And even if you gave them the supplement list, are they going to follow it? Absolutely not. Why? Because there's no accountability, there's no ongoing support. You need the full picture. And so I think the frustration with people that are just starting out now is either they don't know that they need the whole infrastructure or they're sort of doing it like piecemeal and then it flops, it doesn't work, and then they get discouraged. Um, and so I wanted to just talk about that because if you're going to make an investment, whether it's with us or anybody else, make sure that you're getting the whole infrastructure. Otherwise, just a piece of it ain't going to work. Not when you're first starting out, right? If you were to now add on a podcast or a Substack or a this or a that, will that help you? Yeah, of course, because you have the whole infrastructure. You have ads, you have nurture, you have marketing, you have sales, you have program delivery, you even now have an assistant. You have the whole shebang. So, of course, now adding a tactic like that, that's going to only help you. So, I wanted to make that real clear for people. Do you want to walk people through sort of the process of what clients experience when they work with you? Because I think for a lot of people, it's so murky, they can't like visualize it. So, when they enroll with you, like what happens? Like, how do you actually work with them?
Yeah, I just really wanted to touch upon, you said a key word, infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's so important to have. And you're so right. Without an infrastructure, you're not going to move forward. And that same infrastructure is what I provide with the families, apart from the infrastructure of how I've created my program. So when families join with me, that's when the automation starts, which is so nice. They receive a welcome email. They automatically get access to the educational content that I provide. I have them fill out an intake form so I can understand their child. They sign their terms and conditions. After that, I can automatically send them their functional lab tests. They automatically get access to my group coaching calls, which is really one-on-one support. They get the calendar, they get the link. So it's really out of my hands, which is nice. I don't need to, yes, I do need to make sure that they've signed the terms or provided me with the intake form, because without that, I can't send them the labs. But other than that, they get, whether in the beginning, they get bi-weekly automated emails that I send them, checking in, how's it going? Do you need any support? Then it goes to like every third week. But families are getting the support that they need. And I compare it to ZTC. I got the support that I needed to move forward, right? That infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that's how the families now are seeing the changes. That's how they're becoming successful in supporting their children. There's still
Abs-
roadblocks, but because we speak twice a week or they have access to me via our private Facebook group or email, they'll get a response within 24 hours rather than having to book a call, which they can, but booking a call is secondary to the support that they can get ongoing
Right. Yep.
because I offer so much support.
And probably for people listening, they're thinking, wow, that is a lot of support. What do you charge?
Yeah, so I currently charge $4,500 US.
US. Yeah.
US.
It's
And
important that we say that because we're both Canadian.
I currently have 60 families in the program, and I really officially started maybe last year. Like I said, I was working maybe with 10 families one on one, having one on one calls every other week. And when I moved over to the group coaching, some of them I brought in, others had finished, but $4,500 includes all that support. And it also includes the functional lab testing. And for the individualized support, it's very, very reasonable compared to what practitioners at a clinic would charge.
So you charge 4,500 US.
So I charge 4,500 US. I do have payment plans, a few payment plans. I share a lot of information on social media, on Instagram.
Do you feel weird about doing that? Like cringy, awkward,
No,
uncomfortable, embarrassed?
no, not anymore. I used to. I like doing reels. I like speaking. That wasn't like me. Years ago, had someone said to me, Rita, you're going to be on stage speaking to people, I would say never in my lifetime because I don't like being the center of attention. I don't want people staring at me. But I've been to 3 speaking events where I was a speaker and I enjoy speaking. I'm passionate with what I do. I'm passionate about sharing with families how there are solutions to help every child get better. And so, yeah, I post a lot on social media. I invite families to book a call. I do run some Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the email list is really great because again, that's another automation. In the past, I used to use, help me,
MailChimp? Apple
MailChimp
Campaign?
and had no idea what it like I just had no idea how to frame it, do it. But now like I use Flowy and I'm currently running my webinar for next week. And again, I have my templates with the content for my emails. I input everything and it organically just does what it's supposed to do.
Let's talk about the webinar for a second because I think this is hard for people to understand and this is something that I am a huge stickler on is rinse and repeat and helping practitioners and coaches to wrap their minds around the fact that you actually should not have all these different webinars. You should not have all of these different sort of ways to be getting clients. You should not be creating a new workshop or talk or whatever every single month because every time you do it, it's like you're starting from scratch and then you don't know if it's going to work. And that creates fear, uncertainty. It also is burnout. So when Rita says she's getting ready to do her webinar, what she really means is she's getting ready to basically send out the emails that got sent out last month and not change them because when she changes them, I get mad and redo the webinar from the script that she did last month and the month before and the month before that and the month before that, maybe making a couple tweaks here and there so that there's some slides where she feels she likes to sound better than what it does now because she sort of hearing herself. And then she has a certainty. Like we know that when she has a certain number of people register, certain number of people show, we're going to book calls. And that way she ends up with her 5 clients every month. Do you wanna talk a little bit about what that's like?
Running a webinar?
Right.
Uh, I don't like running webinars. I actually get nervous running a webinar. There's a lot of talking. My webinar probably runs 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But It's not just booking a call, it's really buying my program. So it is a little bit lengthy, but then I do a Q&A at the end. Yeah, and it's the same webinar that I created last year. And I just started doing them on the monthly basis. This is
Yeah.
my third month doing it. The last time I actually ran a webinar before these back to back was last April because I book calls through Instagram. You want me to walk through my webinar?
No, I just wanted you to say that you don't like doing it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't. I don't. But I got my rinse and repeat my emails. I prepared them all. They're being sent out every other day. The first one was Monday. No, yesterday. So I have 9 people already registered.
and the reason that I wanted you to share that you don't like doing it and you do it anyway is because I think that there are a lot of people in that boat who are petrified to do something like this. I still get nervous. I've been doing this
Yeah.
for literally 15 years and I still get nervous because it's a big responsibility. Because you know that people are coming to you out of desperation. Anyone who signs up for my webinar, your webinar, they're coming with like, please let them say something that's going to help me. That's th that's the
Yeah.
vibe. And so it's a big responsibility and you wanna make sure that you deliver. We know that in your case, these parents that are showing up to your webinar, you're not gonna leave them high and dry. Whether they work with you or not, you're still gonna deliver. You're still gonna give them value. You're still gonna help them. And it ends up being, it's funny, people are like, no attention span, no attention span. Mine's 2 hours, yours is 2 hours. I know a couple of other clients that we have too, they're like, I can't get it below 90 minutes. People are staying till the end asking questions because they're desperate for help. And it is our responsibility to deliver that, whether they ever pay us a dime or not. We know this. And so, obviously you do the webinar because that's your marketing event and because you have goals that you want to hit. So whether you love it or not, it's part of your job description and it's something you need to do, but also it's there for those people who can never afford or will never work with you either.
Yeah, I'm very passionate in how I help families, and I never want it to be salesy. And I think that's the connection I make with webinars, that there's always that sales component. And I'm very honest with the families, even when I have my clarity call, my one-on-one call. I always say to them, this is not a sales call. I'm really here to hear what's going on with you and see what I can offer you, whether we work together or not. I just want you to leave with some clarity. And that's what I tell them. And I continue pushing even on days where I really want to give up. As successful as I am, I don't give up because there's so many people that are doing it for the wrong reasons. And to a degree, it's like I'm showing up to protect that population because I don't want them spending ridiculous amount of money on quote unquote practitioners that say they've cured, reversed just by like a quick fix, because that's not going to happen. And that's the reality.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I feel the same way. I'm like, I'll give you all the answers and I'll tell you what you need because I don't want you to get burned.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Talk to me about the changes that you've experienced in yourself, your mindset, your confidence, things like that. Right now, you're in the process of learning how to become a boss
Yeah, that's a
to
struggle.
another human. Is that
I
what
would
you
have
say?
failed.
And these conversations are interesting, right? This is now the progression where you're like, okay, I've maxed out my time. I want to continue to help these families. I need some support. So, talk to me sort of about the progression that you've witnessed for yourself.
I have a lot of well-known practitioners in the space that support the work that I do. And so that's something else I offer the families as well, because I don't know everything. And if the way I work with families is that I want to have a container where they don't have to go searching for anything. And
Mhm.
so if someone comes to me asking about leucovorin, it's like, oh, I'm not the expert in it, but I know who the expert is. I'm going to call them on to do a
Referral or whatever.
a webinar or like a private Zoom so I could share it with you. So I have a lot of well-known practitioners in the space that refer families to me, that invite me to speak. Yeah, like I had to hire someone who it's a work in progress. I wish I can help more families than the 5 families, but I can't do more than that because I feel that I'd be irresponsible because I won't be able to provide the families the support. And that's because I do work full time. So my Growing Up Resilient program really is part-time. Like it's an afternoon, I don't want to say
Yeah.
job, but it's an afternoon
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah. It's a
right?
limited time opportunity because you're not going to quit your full-time job to do this full-time because that just doesn't make sense, and not from a money perspective, but you're super close to.
Yeah, I could definitely leave my full-time job. I'm just not ready to because I would say the income is more or less the same. But I've really gained a lot more confidence. I would say maybe this past year, I'm even more confident in how I view autism and what I share with families. And that kind of like bothers some others in the space.
Let's talk about that. How do you handle pushback? How do you handle anonymous people on the internet saying dumb things?
Yeah, I'm a very emotional person. My husband says that all the time. He goes, Italians are very emotional. They react like this instead of like pausing, thinking. So I try to pause and think. And, maybe I share information online to educate families. Be careful of practitioners pretending to be someone that they're not. And then it's the practitioners that I'm not even talking about them. They come back at me whether it feels like you're gaslighting us, we've worked so hard on helping our child. Like, I'm not talking about you. So it's like they're bringing in their emotions. And then all I just really say is that I'm here to share with families that they really need to look at the full picture when asking for support.
Yeah. And that's it. And there's no defense, there is no anything.
No,
This is what it is. Um, and this
yeah,
is how
and it's
you handle it.
it's a bad space to be in. Sometimes you get lost in social media, like there's a love-hate relationship with it. And so sometimes if I don't like what someone says, I don't comment on like your social media account is yours. You can post whatever you want. If I don't like it, that's my problem. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to share, Lori said this, she's wrong. Like I would never do that. I would
Mhm.
just, that's your
That's what the
space.
block and delete button is for.
Yeah. So
If people
there's
say dumb things, we just delete it.
Yeah, and there's some people that I've just hidden their comments. So I don't block anyone. But if you don't like what I have to say, you don't need to comment or you don't need to share your opinion on
Mhm.
my space. Like I'm not making things up. So I personal story with my first husband. We divorced or separated when my older son was 6 months. And so throughout our litigation that lasted up until my son started university, and he's in his third year now, many, many years. And he had many different lawyers. And throughout all those years, I realized there's two types of lawyers. There's those that are there for the money or those that really, really care about their clients. And the same applies to every field. I'm one of those practitioners that really care about families and I want them to succeed, but the proper way, not sharing with them in 6 months or 3 months. I can guarantee you this because no one should guarantee anything for anyone ever.
Agreed.
And when I decided to work with you, what I thought about is like, okay, this is the investment. All I need is a few clients to pay for that investment.
Yep.
Right. But then even there's always going to be turbulence.
Always.
Always. And just because there's turbulence doesn't mean something bad is going to happen, right? And using the analogy of a plane, like you're on a plane, you're going from A to B, you're going to encounter turbulence, but you're always going to get there, right? Because nothing is ever linear. Nothing.
No. And there's always gonna be like there's I mean, the way that I describe it is like the business is a living, breathing organism. It's so interesting how there's such a direct connection to like a health transformation. Going to the gym one time
Yeah.
isn't going to do anything. Posting on social one time is not going to do anything. But imagine somebody who's consistent at the gym 3 times a week for a year. Totally different.
Yeah. Because it's never one thing. You can't just go to the gym and still not eat well or sleep well. Right. And it's just like everything.
Yeah. What
I want
advice do you have for people who are in your shoes, who have the credentials, who maybe have lived their own experience, went through it with somebody else, who knows that they can help people, but sort of that fear of, can I do this? Will this work? Will I be successful? Is really heavy. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, so I was always one of those people that would look at others that have succeeded and say, why is that not happening to me? And that happened many, many times. And now I'm on the opposite end. I've become very successful and being, I guess, on both sides, right? Or like even being a mom of a child diagnosed with autism who had so many issues to being the independent child that he is today, you can get to the other side. But you can be pessimistic, I guess, and you can have these mixed feelings, but you really need to move forward and start. Like for anything, you need to start. And if there are practitioners watching today, if you are passionate in what you do and you truly want to help families, or whatever, help women or whatever your niche is, you just need to move forward with it because if you don't, someone else will. And my husband always says it's your opportunity to lose. He says it all the time. If you really think about it, like if you don't take action, someone else is going to do it. And what if that person is not genuine, but you are? Why would you allow someone else to do that when you're perfectly capable and experienced to do that? So like everything, it is a journey. It may take longer for some than others, but if I have to share with those watching today, I love everything that you provided in ZTC, and I'm still being mentored by you in FBA. Actually, I couldn't even wait when I finished ZTC. It's like, okay, I need to continue on with Lori. I need someone to guide me still. And you'll know when you find that right person. So
We have
yeah,
a good time. We have a good
yeah,
time in our coaching calls.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm super strict. Yeah, but it's necessary. Like I feel like I have a responsibility, and if I am not that way, we're in a situation now where Rita's bored and she needs stuff to do.
no, I have a lot of things to do. I just want to keep growing, even though I
She
don't have
can't.
capacity for it.
Right. She
I'm
can't
just
keep
always
growing.
looking.
So we're
Yeah.
going back and forth. I'm like, okay, here's what you're going to work on. Please don't tinker with your webinar because it works just fine. So
Yeah.
there's other projects to do, putting operational processes in place to get more off her plate and giving to her assistant so that maybe she can, have 6 families instead of 5.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you so real because you truly care. And I see that when you say things to me that I'm not happy with, but you're like the mom. No, this is how it's going to work. I've been this road down this road before. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to circle back and speak about it.
Yeah. And I think that, the way that I work, the way that you work, it's funny. We're probably both very similar in our like working styles with our clients because that's what they're paying us for. Like they're paying us, like I always say, like I have a fiduciary duty to make sure that you don't mess it up, right? Unintentionally.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, because I have more experience than you. You have more experience than your clients. And that's literally what they're paying us for. They're paying us to protect them, to guide them, to hold them accountable, to get the results. And that's what we're all here to do is to get our clients results. Um, and that's why we do it, because then when we get those emails and the messages and all of this, like, my kid ate this, my client just hit their goal again, it's worth it. Well, thank you. Thank you for this conversation.
Yeah, you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
And thanks everybody for watching, and we'll chat real soon. Bye.